Good afternoon, everyone. This is a special video. My name is Donna Edwards Awthorne. I am a mother, a wife, a chef, an entrepreneur, a author, a content creator. Yes, you hear it all. Today's video is about all of my admirers who reach out to me and ask me to help them out with giving them ideas of how I went about and wrote my book. So I'm going to do a series of videos, but today I'm only going to give you the first step, the first 5 steps that I went through. And I've write my book, I Wasn't Okay. It's an autobiography, um, a nonfiction. So you have fiction and you have nonfiction. But my book is a nonfiction. Autobiography is a true story. So what do? You want to make sure, first thing, you want to make sure what your book is about. So a fiction book is something that you imagine. Um, you write about something that, that you think is possible, but it's not facts. A nonfiction book is the reality, is the truth. So if you decided that's two things you want to make sure, that's the first one, you want to make sure what kind of book you want to write about. If it's a memoir, like it's just one story you want to tell, it could be a little small book. But the first thing, so the first 5 things that you need to start writing your book is you need to visualize the book, what you want your book to be about. Is this going to be a fiction book or a non-fiction book? There's two different types. Or a memoir. A memoir may be just a storyline, like a story you're telling, like just one story. So it's just a little small book. But if you're going to write a book, which is like a numbers of story, is it stories that you made up? That is called fiction. A non-fiction book is something that is real, like my book, my autobiography. I Wasn't Okay. Right, that is a real, those are real stories in my book. So you really want to visualize your book to see what you really want your book to be about. Is it numbers of story with you or with your brothers and your sisters, and you're trying to tell these stories? That's called a nonfiction. That's a nonfiction book. So you want to really decide what you are going to write about. The next thing you're going to do is create an account with Google Docs. Google Docs is where I create my account and I start writing. So what you're going to do is just start write. Yes, write nonstop. All your stories, just start packing them into Google Docs. Each time you remember, I used to write myself stories and send it to myself. So the next thing, that's what, 3? Yeah. Visualize it. Um, Visualize it and start writing. Where am I? Okay, so the third thing is that you're going to start each story you tell, start getting a chapter from it. One of my chapter is called The Incident. Another one is called Childhood in Jamaica. So you want to pick your line, what you from each story, what you um, are going to name your chapters from. So that's how I have 20 chapters in my book. So that's how you're going to choose your chapters based on your stories, each story you tell. Okay. So that's number 3. Number 4 is you want to decide your size of your book. If it's going to be a 5 by 7, a 6 by 8, a 10 by 9, or a 10 by 8, it depends on your size. But what you can do is use a tape measure, go into your house and start using that tape measure to measure the books and said, okay, this is the size book I would want, because sometimes we don't really think of what size book we would have want. So that's what you have to do. Just get your tape measure, go into your house if you have tons of book in your house, and said this size would look perfect. Just measure that size and just decide on what size you would want your book to be. The fifth one is um, the color of your book. That's very, very important. Okay? The color of your book, and I'm going to give you 6 instead of 5. The color of your book, because I leave out the main one, but I'm going to put it here because I just remember. I didn't write these down. I'm just going off of my memory. You want to make sure you find a very nice title for your book, because that's what catching, and that's what everybody is looking for. You don't want your title to be too long that if somebody, you tell somebody, oh, my book name is John, Ari, and Mary. You don't want it to be too long where people cannot remember it. You want it to be as simple as possible where people can remember to go type it in on Google or on Amazon, wherever you have your book, wherever they're going to look for your book. Um, so those are the 6 first things that you really need. I was going to do 5, but I realized that the title of the book is very important, and I already give you that first 5, so I'm not going to change that. So it's 6. That's the first 6 things you really need. But the main thing is for you to keep writing. Once you visualize what you want your book to be about, you have to just keep writing. And just that is just my advice to you. Never um, be doubtful. Never feel like, okay, this is too hard. I'm not saying you can't feel like that, but don't give up on what you're doing. Because guess what? Your book is your legacy. And this is something that someone will forever remember you for, your book. Okay? So even when you're gone, that book is still out there and people know who you were. So that's a legacy for you. And remember, your 6 first thing, you have to visualize what your book wanted, you want your book to be. Put it in your head, visualize it, and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do. You know what I mean? And then you're just gonna create that memory, whatever it is. Um, if it's a autobiography, a nonfiction, your color of your book, your size, your title, your book title, yes, all of that, and just keep writing. Just write. I wanted to write my book since I was 19 years old, and my book just wrote it 2 years ago. I just completed 2 years ago. So just never give up. And I am going to write part 2 because part 1 was just hurtful. I heard a lot um, of people reach out to me and tell me that they don't know how I survived that. But the, the hard part is in part 1. So I really have to write the glory in part 2. So part 2 will be coming. I just don't know when yet, but it will be, because Google Docs is still working for me. So what I'm going to do is start typing in Google Docs for part 2. I haven't started yet, but I will, because I have story after story after story to put. So hopefully this video um, find you some happiness. For everyone who reach out to me, this video is special. Okay, and it's for you. Adios and take care. God bless. Bye.